Why, you'll all be done away with at the same time. Except for the angels, naturally.
Please? Now what the hell makes you so special?
Grand Priest isn't afraid of Zeno, and that's for two reasons. First, the Grand Priest knows the immense dependence the Omni King has on him. After all, Grand Priest is like a guide for Zeno, just as the gods of destruction are guided by angels, making one dependent on the other to exist. Zeno is guided by Grand Priest. The other reason is that Zeno has existed for millions of years, and who has accompanied him all this time since the beginning? Exactly, Grand Priest. This means the Grand Priest knows Zeno better than anyone. He knows his strengths and weaknesses, his thoughts, his ambitions. We could say they are kind of best friends. And then you're going to tell me that the only friend Zeno has is Goku? Let's face it, Goku isn't friends with Zeno, never was, never even showed the slightest interest in maintaining a friendship with the Omni King, always rejecting him whenever Zeno called him to play, so we can say that Goku doesn't give a damn about Zeno-sama, literally. Even the idea of bringing another Zeno from the future to befriend the Zeno of the present was a masterstroke by Akira Toriyama. He plays with the fact that Zeno's only friend is himself, even leaving a small reflection for all of us, that deep down, in the end, the only friends we have are ourselves. Because think about it, the only one who knows everything that goes through Zeno's head is Zeno himself, and the same happens to us. We know our limits, thoughts, insecurities, weaknesses, feelings. We deal with these things every single day, 24 hours a day. We are forced to deal with our own minds. Nobody else is capable of doing this for us or relieving us of this burden. In many moments, we are our own comfort, distraction, and refuge, mentor, advisor, etc. And the way Dragon Ball reflects this is brilliant. For some, this may even sound a bit cruel, like the only person willing to be Zeno's friend is himself from the future. But on the other hand, this is the harsh reality of life, in the end, is about ourselves, and Akira Toriyama portrays this very well through a being who seems as silly and naive as Zeno. Wow, I weighed down the mood of this video, didn't I? I apologize, that wasn't my intention. Let's get out of this bad mood and continue with the Zeno and Daishinkan relationship. First, we need to understand Zeno's role. Zeno is not a warrior, not a strategist, nor an intelligent and calculating ruler. He is more like a force of nature, a pure entity with absurd power but who doesn't seem to have emotional maturity proportional to it. Zeno is like a child with a universal reset button, and Daishinkan sees this from within every day. Imagine that you have lived with this entity since forever. You know how it thinks, how it reacts, what scares it, what amuses it, and most importantly, you know that it needs you. Without you, it literally wouldn't be able to manage anything. At this point, it becomes clear that the Grand Priest isn't afraid of Zeno because he has never been emotionally inferior to him. He isn't treated as a subordinate. He's treated almost like a mentor. There's a very profound interpretation in the way the Grand Priest behaves. At no point does he demonstrate submission. He respects Zeno, of course, but it's a respect similar to that of a teacher for an extremely special student. It's not fear. It's coexistence. It's responsibility. It's stability. And here we enter the heart of the theory. The Grand Priest doesn't fear Zeno because he knows that Zeno's power isn't controlled by ambition or malice. It's purely emotional and innocent. And who controls Zeno's emotions? Zeno himself. And the Grand Priest seems to perfectly understand how Zeno's power operates. He knows what triggers it, what stimulates it, what irritates it, what amuses it. He knows the true dimension of Zeno's power, while all the other gods only know the destructive side. This gives the Grand Priest an absurd sense of security. Perhaps he is the only being in the universe who truly understands Zeno on a level that even Zeno himself doesn't understand. The Grand Priest doesn't fear Zeno because he knows Zeno would never destroy him, not because Zeno recognizes his worth, but because emotionally, Zeno is connected to the Grand Priest like a child is to the adult who has cared for them since forever. Losing the Grand Priest would be devastating for Zeno, wouldn't you agree? It's like pulling the rug out from under someone who doesn't even know how to tie their own shoes. That's why the Grand Priest talks to him calmly. That's why he suggests ideas, presents rules, guides decisions. He literally directs the most feared being in the cosmos without needing to show fear. He doesn't fear Zeno's power because he understands his internal limitations, understands his mentality, understands his behavior, and he understands that even having the power to destroy everything, Zeno would never do that to him. Furthermore, there is the political layer of our theory. The Grand Priest is the supreme leader of the angels. And all angels are neutral, obedient, perfect, and extremely powerful beings. If, and this is a gigantic IF, something happened to the Grand Priest, the entire balance of the universes would crumble. The angelic order would collapse. And Zeno knows this. Even with his childlike mind, he understands that messing with the Grand Priest is like turning off the only stabilizer that prevents the total collapse of the system. So, to summarize in the simplest way possible, Zeno is not feared by the Grand Priest because Zeno doesn't really control him. He depends on him. He trusts him. He literally only exists as king of all, thanks to him. And this makes their relationship something very unique. It's not fear, it's not domination, it's not common hierarchy. It's as if the Grand Priest were the only adult figure on a throne that is actually commanded by a childlike force with absolute power. The Grand Priest looks at Zeno and thinks, I know exactly who you are. I know your limits, I know your weaknesses, I know your heart, and I know you need me. And whoever understands something deeply does not fear that thing. In the end, the Grand Priest is perhaps the most dangerous being in the universe. Not because of his destructive force, but because of his power of influence. He is the brains behind the supreme entity. And Zeno is the hand that presses the button. And that's where all the calm, all the neutral smile, and all the tranquility he always demonstrates reside. He doesn't fear Zeno, because Zeno only exists as king thanks to him. What do you all think of all this? I want to see your opinions in the comments. This video is ending here. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel. It's very important to have your support here. Welcome, a big hug, and until next time, bye.